So what's going on, guys? My name is Mr. Dalek JD, and today is one of the most exciting days ever for zombies. I am literally in a state of shock right now, and I think you guys will be as well. And I want every single one of you watching right now to absolutely destroy that thumbs up button. As within the reveal, which was on JC's channel, if you want to see the reaction to it on my channel, it is there right now on my channel, linked down below. Treyarch showed a poster containing the Zombies timeline. And this thing is one of the most intricate, most detailed things I've ever seen. And this is something which I think is literally, it's like a pinch me, I'm dreaming moment. Every single thing that's ever happened inside of Call of Duty Zombies has been documented in this one image. Every single thing that's ever happened. No more speculation on anything. It is literally right here in front of our very eyes. And in this video, I want to document what has been mentioned about Mob of the Dead, because specifically we've not seen Mob of the Dead as a remastered map, and I feel what they're going to be doing instead is this timeline is going to be explaining everything involving Mob of the Dead. This also mentions stuff about Buried, stuff about Nuketown Zombies, stuff about Moon. Oh my freaking god, like I am literally I'm literally speechless, mind blown. This is without a doubt the most exciting thing ever. This includes everything about certain dimensions, fractures in time. It is honestly a little bit too much to handle, and this is without a doubt the most exciting thing we have ever seen. And this is going to be so amazing. I'm going to be making so many videos covering specific topics from this because my mind is literally swirling. We're going to jump straight in to talk about Mob of the Dead. Without any further delay, my friends, let's jump into the official timeline and storyline for Mob of the Dead. I am literally so excited. I don't even know how I'm going to handle this video. Now, the way that this image works is all of the timelines are circling around. So at some points they're going to be flipped upside down, so it is going to be a little hard for me to read, but we'll jump straight into things anyway. And this starts July 17th, 1922. Salvador Sal de Luca opens a gambling house across Chicago. This marks the beginning of the De Luca crime family. We then jump to February 17th, 1923. Billy Handsome joins the De Luca crime family as a hitman. Sal will come to look at Billy as the son he never had. September 17th, 1923. An expert in gambling and rigging sporting events, Michael Finn O'Leary begins working for Sal. We're now starting to get a picture here of how they begin to know each other. March 23rd, 1924, Finn marries Angelina Bow, an aspiring starlet with delusions of grandeur. Now that puts a lot of the speculation to bed on if he was marrying the burlesque dancer from Shadows of Evil. That's great that we have that out in the open there. We now go to March 1st, 1929. Sal writes of his frustration with Chicago's finest. After many years of successful bribes with the city, it becomes clear that it is no longer an option. May 11th, 1930, Sal begins to work with Albert Al Arlington, an associate in Los Angeles known for being a master schemer and bank robber. October 14th, 1930, Finn informs his lawyer he will not accept divorce from Angela, saying she can leave this marriage the day she leaves this earth. Exactly a year on from then, after an LA heist for Sal goes wrong, Al wakes up in the hospital. Now, a few days after that, while in the hospital, Al submits Icarus from Mars for publication as a comic strip. It's his third attempt. It is denied. Again. November 11th, 1931. Angry and frustrated with his collapsing empire, Sal kills a prostitute. No longer willing to turn a blind eye, Chicago PD arrests him. Now, of course, Alcatraz is a prison that you don't get into straight away. You need to be a ruthless criminal in order to be thrown into there. So we're now seeing exactly how our characters ended up being in Alcatraz, how they first got this criminal record history. December 1st, 1931. In an operation against the De Luca crime family, Billy is arrested for multiple homicides. December 11th, 1931. In an operation against the De Luca crime family, Finn is arrested by Chicago PD when his wife offers evidence against him. Holy crap. January 19th, or that might be January 17th, 1932. Al is arrested for his role in the LA heist. May 14th, 1932, Sal is found guilty of murder. He is sentenced to life in prison at Alcatraz. Oh my god, here we go, guys. May 16th, 1932, Billy is found guilty of the 116 counts of murder. Oh my god. He is sentenced to life in prison at Alcatraz. May 30th, 1932, Finn is found guilty of 16 counts of gambling fraud. He will serve his sentence at Alcatraz. And then June 13th, 1932, Sal and Billy arrive at Alcatraz Island. June 30th, 1932, Finn arrives at Alcatraz Island. We then go to July 1st, 1932. Al is found guilty of grand larceny, grand theft auto, arson, conspiracy, and battery. He will serve his sentence at Alcatraz. August 15th. Oh no, completely wrong. August 3rd, 1932. Al arrives at Alcatraz Island. January 13th, 1933. Stanley Ferguson begins working at Alcatraz. April 1st, 1933. Al convinces Sal, Finn, and Billy that they can build a plane and escape Alcatraz. Oh, here we go. This is where things are going to get incredible. December 2nd, 1933. Realizing the plane will never be completed, and embittered with rage, Sal, Finn, and Billy plot to get revenge on Al. This seems very familiar. December 31st, 1933. Finn, Sal, and Billy lure Al to the roof and kill him. January 11th, 1934. Stepping through a rift, Richtofen secures the blood samples of Sal and Finn. What? January 11th, 1934. What? January 19th, 1934. Found guilty of Al's murder, Sal, Finn, and Billy are executed by electric chair. So Richtofen got the blood vials 8 days before, but that was just blood samples of Sal and Finn. Why? We don't quite know. And then that leads us, literally from that point onwards, to Mob of the Dead. Sal, Finn, Billy, and Al battle waves of the undead as they find themselves snapped in a seemingly endless cycle. That sounds very, very familiar, because that is exactly what is going on. Okay, we now then go to April 16th, 1940. This is a good 6 years. Richtofen arrives in Dimension 63, where he contacts members of the Illuminati and enlists their help to build a laboratory facility beneath Alcatraz. What? April 18th, 1940, Richtofen meets with Stanley Ferguson and convinces him to assist with the Illuminati's construction of the Alcatraz laboratory. It's been like 8 years since the Illuminati was even mentioned in the story, and we've got Illuminati and Richtofen working together. July 3rd, 1941, Stanley Ferguson reports that the laboratory has been completed and that the subjects will be placed in stasis chambers upon arrival. Now, here's the thing I don't understand. It's like, what? The subjects will be placed in stasis chambers upon arrival, but the Mob of the Dead characters are dead, but Richtofen has the blood. Now, here's where things are interesting. Richtofen returns to the lab under Alcatraz, where he meets Victus, arriving from the empty earth with the Chronorium. Upon reading the Chronorium, Richtofen discovers numerous timelines documenting their fates and learns about the blood vials. He would later write on the page, "I know now what I must do. ER 4741. Oh my god. Richtofen enters a rift to acquire the blood of Sal and Finn. After delivering the blood to his younger self and recovering the blood vials belonging to Victus, he returns. Victus is placed on ice to be kept safe until they are needed next. Oh my freaking god. So if you don't realize already, guys, what's happening is the transit crew have gone through and helped Richtofen get the Chronorium, just like the comic story is building up to build. Richtofen reads the Chronorium, learns about the fates of him and his former his former teammates, I guess you could say. That's talking about Richtofen, Dempsey, Takeo, and Nikolai, and learns about the blood vials and that he needs them in order to survive. So he then goes through a rift, gets the blood of Sal and Finn, then after delivering the blood to his younger self, which I'm assuming is going to be, Origins Richtofen back in the actual Origins dig site, he returns and he gets the blood of the transit crew. The transit crew are then placed on ice to be kept safe until they are needed next. That means they are stuck under Alcatraz. July 4th, 1941. Primis... what? Primis arrives to collect the Victus blood samples from Richthofen. Following Primis's departure, Richthofen learns the location of the summoning key and travels to his next destination. What? So going from the end of Revelations, our characters are Primis. The Primis characters arrive in 1941 to collect the blood from the transit crew. They get that from Richthofen. There's already some sort of like parallel loop going on there, because there's two Richthofens interacting with each other and the Primis characters. The Primis characters then leave. Then Richthofen learns the location of the summoning key and travels to his next destination. A few months on from that, Stanley Ferguson leaves employment at Alcatraz. October 21st, 1943, posing as Mr. Rapt, the Shadow Man hires a reporter to recover artifacts from the South Pacific and Russia. Now, that rings a lot of bells, right? December 14th, 1943, the reporter recovers the artifacts from the South Pacific and Russia. Among them is the summoning key. We're learning the origins of the summoning key right here, guys. Whew, this is ridiculous. December 25th, 1943. As per Mr. Rapt's request, the reporter speaks to Stanley Ferguson, a retired guard from Alcatraz. Stanley gives a detailed account of the deaths of Al Arlington, Billy Handsome, Finn O'Leary, and Sal DeLuca. December 31st, 1943, at Mr. Rapt's request, the reporter arrives in Morgue City to take in its sights, sounds, and smells. January 13th, 1944, a meteor shower rains over Morgue City. 17 days later, the reporter notes strange mold now growing all over the city. He also notes people are getting sick and acting delirious. Well, this seems very familiar because we've all heard this in the radios. We keep going around. A fruit vendor tells the reporter about the ancient order of the Keepers and how they're the only ones holding back the forces of the apocalypse. He talks to people hearing chanting from beneath the city. March 30th, the reporter sends Mr. Rat a telegram providing details and contact information for Nero, Jessica Rose, Floyd Campbell, and Jackie Vincent. Now, this follows a very familiar pattern, right? We know a lot about this story. Oh my god. This is really crazy. I'm going to skip through a little bit because we know a little bit about these characters anyway. And I know that the Shadows of Evil story ties in a lot with Mob of the Dead, which is why we're still mentioning it, because of course it is definitely relevant. Pretending to be a company executive, the Shadow Man tells Nero's lawyer that Nero's wife has taken out substantial loans in his name. Nero has 15 days to settle before the company seeks reparation. Facing multiple debts due to his wife's spending habits, Nero decides to kill his wife and use her life insurance to pay the debt. This is explaining basically every single purpose or reason of why exactly the characters ended up being in Morgue City for what they did. It's actually ridiculous how cunning the Shadow Man has been throughout all of these. He poses as a film director, as a journalist. Nero misses a call from his lawyer informing him the documents were forged and there's nothing to worry about. And it's just explaining basically how they became to be. And, we see Jessica kills a photographer, Jack kills the snitch who could turn him over to internal affairs, Floyd kills Tony King in the boxing match. We know all of this. We know that eventually gets to a purpose where Richthofen arrives in Morgue City to secure the summoning key. We definitely know that. We see he does, and that's in April 21st, 1944. A day later, Richthofen learns the reporter has the summoning key and confronts him. The reporter waves Monty's letter at Richthofen and orders him to stay away before attacking him. Richthofen kills the reporter in self-defense, and we see that we have the letter right there of the guy that's like sat in the windowsill with the letter. And oh my god, this then brings us a tiny bit to the story of Shadows of Evil, which definitely ties in a lot with Mob of the Dead, and this is the final bit of that Mob of the Dead story that's mentioned here so far. April 25th, 1944, Shadows of Evil. Nero, Jack, Floyd, and Jessica are knocked unconscious at the Black Lace Burlesque Club. They wake up in a twisted version of Morgue City, shifted slightly from reality. Told they can atone from their sins by the Shadow Man, all four are tricked into performing rituals. Jessica sacrifices her producer, Jack sacrifices his partner, Floyd sacrifices his promoter, and Nero sacrifices his lawyer. Completing the required rituals, the Apothicons are given access to Dimension 63. Realizing that they've been duped, the four work with the Keepers to defeat the Shadow Man. They trap him in the summoning key, but before they can hand it over to the Keepers, Primis Richthofen arrives and steals the key. Now here's the interesting point. That we saw right there. Primis Richthofen, not the Origins Richtofen that we are currently playing as. So that brings a lot more light. There's got to be, at some point, Primis Richtofen got that key, which we saw, took it to the Richtofen from the Giant. And we didn't see that, but the Giant and the Richtofen and the crew have been playing with throughout Black Ops 3, Richtofen from that crew didn't go to Shadows of Evil. It was Primis Richtofen. So, Primis Richtofen arrives and steals the key. Richtofen travels to Dimension 2210 to secure an innocent Richtofen soul. He delivers the soul to the house. From within the summoning key, the Shadow Man states, "I'll be seeing you." And then we go to April 26th, 1944. The Apothicons destroy Dimension 62. And that, my friends, is the complete Mob of the Dead storyline. If you are shook like I am right now, make sure to absolutely destroy that thumbs up button, dudes. Let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comment section. This Zombies timeline is literally mind-blowing. You're going to see a lot of people going crazy, me included, loads of videos coming out about this over the next few days. I'm literally speechless. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to smash that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button as well. Oh my god, DLC 5, Zombie Chronicles, baby, it is here. I'm so hyped. See you guys soon.